Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on odds.com YouTube page. Tonight, we are going to be going over some games that I like for tomorrow's baseball card, Tuesday, August 4th. I like to do most of my betting overnight or the day before. That helps us get some of the best lines going. I already have 4 plays that I've put in, 2 totals, 1 huge favorite, and one I wouldn't call them an underdog. They're right around even money, but one game that's right around even money. When I get done talking about some of these games, if anybody in the chat has any questions, I can talk about some of the other games I'm looking at, because although I only have 4 plays so far, I do have some target numbers that I want to jump on some of these other games at if we do get there. And I think on some of them we might be able to. So the first game that I have up is going to be the Rangers versus the Athletics. We have Lance Lynn versus Luzardo. I discussed Lance Lynn's last start on Jimmy's The Bag show here on odds.com, and check that out every single day at noon Eastern. Lance Lynn's a pitcher I really like. I really like Lance Lynn a lot. I think he's probably one of the most underrated starting pitchers in baseball by the public. I think a lot of the sharps know that he's really good. And he's going up against Luzardo, who this is his first major league start. He's a rookie, and I have looked at a lot of his minor league numbers. He's a great prospect for the Athletics here. They put him in a couple long relief situations to get him stretched out. I think going up against a weak lineup from the Texas Rangers, Luzardo should be fine, and he's also backed up by a very good bullpen. The Athletics have one of the top bullpens in the league. I'd say top 5. That being said, you have a really good starting pitcher with Lance Lynn. The Texas Rangers bullpen's rate's pretty decent as well. I mean, I wouldn't say they're one of the top bullpens, but they haven't been a dumpster fire at all this year. And you have a weak lineup from the Rangers, and Lance Lynn's a righty who throws good fastballs. There's a lot of righties in that Athletics lineup. So I'm on an under here, under 8.5 right now. I grabbed that early because I think this can get bet down to 8 by tomorrow. It's already minus 120. So if it won't take much under steam for it to get down to 8. So I'm definitely going to be on an under here. I already put it in under 8.5 tomorrow. Lance Lynn versus Luzardo, Texas Rangers, Oakland Athletics. Also, tomorrow morning, some of you might get the first 5 lines in the evening, but most people, especially if you're using an offshore, you get first 5 lines during the morning time, like probably 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm definitely looking at a first 5 in this game as well. If they can give me the Texas Rangers, if you're getting a plus number on the Rangers here, probably around, seeing this how I'm looking at the Rangers are already about plus 130 on the money line. If they give if that money line stays right around where it's at there, if we can get a plus 115 on Lance Lynn first 5 money line, that's going to be a play I'm going to make as well. So keep an eye out for that when the first 5s drop, guys. But that is my pick. Is the under 8.5 right now, minus 120 for the Rangers and Athletics for tomorrow. Moving forward, we got the next game up. We have the Rockies and the Giants in Coors Field. The Rockies are starting German Marquez, who is one of my favorite pitchers in the league. He's so good. And I think a lot of people have trouble when they look at Marquez's ERA and FIP and some of his pitching statistics, because he pitches in Coors Field half his games. So you got to remember that. Like, his numbers get blown up because he does pitch in Coors Field. But I look at all of this stuff. He's probably the he's the Rockies' best pitcher, and he's their best upside pitcher as well. I think he can only get better from here. I love the Rockies lineup. You got Arenado, you got Blackman, you got Trevor Story. They got great guys in their lineup. And they're going up against a pitcher, starting pitcher in Gossman, who's very mediocre. Like, I wouldn't say Gossman's terrible. About 3 years ago, I would say Gossman's terrible. He has improved, but he's still not that good. And the Giants pitching staff that'll back up Gossman once he's out of the game, because starters are only going 5 innings these days anyways. So once Gossman's out of the game, their bullpen's also not that good. And their lineup is one of the 5 worst in the league. So the problem with this is, a lot of people don't like laying big numbers. But when you have a decidedly better starting pitcher, a decidedly better lineup, and a decidedly better bullpen, that's why you can get numbers where you're looking at the Rockies are minus 175 here. I like them all the way up to minus 200. If people don't want to lay minus 175, I understand. Look for a run line here. Get that juice down a little bit lower, maybe minus 130. But I love the Rockies here. I think they light up the Giants. And there's nothing to like about the Giants. There's nothing to like about the Giants this year, honestly. Wipe your camera and it's a bit foggy. Maybe it's just the resolution. Is that better, guys? Hey, Ron Lofton in the chat. Ron Crawford in the chat. What's up, Ron Crawford? I'm going to get through 2 more games here, guys. And then if you guys have any questions for some of the other games tomorrow, let me know. We have third game I like. It's the White Sox versus the Brewers. Okay. The camera is better. Thanks. White Sox Brewers. I'm going to love this matchup for one reason, and it's because I love great starting pitching, and both starting pitchers in the game tomorrow that we have are really good. I love Brandon Woodruff. He's the best pitcher in the Brewers organization. He has top quality stuff. Last time out, he went into the 7th inning with a no-hitter through 10 Ks. Of course, that was against a terrible Pirates lineup, but when you go 6 1/3 with 1 hit and 10 Ks against any major league lineup, that's a really good outing. And on the other side, we have Lucas Giolito. Last year, Giolito was fantastic. He bounced back from a really bad rookie year. He was a highly touted prospect, and a lot of people, including me, were skeptical with how bad his rookie season went. But last year, he redeemed himself. His first start this year was terrible, but it was against the Twins, and the Twins are destroying everybody. And the Twins have one of the 2-3 best lineups in the league. So, it's really not that shameful to be lit up by the Twins. And he came back the next time around through 6 innings, no earned runs, only 4 hits, 6 Ks. He came back pretty good. And I think that's the Giolito we are going to be getting going forward, not that Giolito from that first start with the Twins. Some of the other issues here is the bullpens are kind of a wash. I'd say the Brewers bullpen is slightly better than the White Sox bullpen, but not really that much. So I'd say the starting pitchers in this matchup, the pitching staffs in this game are mostly a wash here. Now this is where we go down to the lineups. The Brewers lineup was weak, and then Lorenzo Cain opted out. Ryan Braun is on the injury list, and Christian Yelich is in the worst slump of his career. He's 1 for 27. It's absolutely terrible. He's 1 for 27 to start the season. That one is a home run. Good for him, but he's cold. He's striking out half his at-bats. And the White Sox lineup, there's a lot to like with their lineup. And so this is a situation where when the pitching staffs are all a complete wash and I have a much better lineup, you're giving me even money on the White Sox here. So I am already bet the Chicago White Sox for tomorrow at even money. I think you guys should probably tell that now because I don't see how the Brewers get a lot of steam on overnights. I think the line's going to move towards the White Sox overnight. I don't think especially with those lineups, especially when you got in the baseball world, the betting world in baseball is ruled by people with their models and their spreadsheets. And when people start modeling in all of their lineup projections and you got those 2 lineups going up against each other with a pitching staff that are mostly a wash, you're going to see a lot of steam on the White Sox, in my opinion. So get them now while they're still even money because, they could be minus 120 by tomorrow. Third game, Mets Nationals. This is a hard game for me to completely give out because I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be Corbin or Scherzer for the Nationals. I got the Score app telling me it's Scherzer. I got a couple of websites telling me it's Corbin. But to be perfectly honest, neither one of them really matter. They're both elite level starting pitchers. Scherzer's slightly better than Corbin. Well, maybe a lot better than Corbin. I don't know. Scherzer's better than everybody, but Corbin is still like one of the top 10 starting pitchers in the league. So whether it's Corbin or Scherzer, I still like this bet that I have on this game. Matz is a really good starting pitcher. He's going for the Mets. And despite the trouble that the Mets bullpen has had lately, they still got a lot of really good arms. Ron Crawford seeing Corbin. Yeah, I was seeing Corbin too, but the Score app messed me up. They were saying Scherzer, but I'm going with Corbin. Anyways, I think the Mets bullpen is going to come back around a bit. They should have some positive. I call that positive regression. I mean, they've underperformed in high leverage situations with runners on a scoring position. If they can get into spots where they're not going to be in that area, I think honestly, the Mets have a good bullpen. They've had a rough run, but their bullpen's still pretty good. And I don't like that lineup from the Washington Nationals. Their lineup's terrible. Honestly, their lineup's is bad. They got rid of Rendon. Rendon going to the Angels last year really, really hurt this Nationals lineup. I believe they should have Soto back, but even with Soto back in, it's still a poor lineup. And it's poor enough for Matz to be able to eat them up. I think Corbin's going to be perfectly fine against the Mets lineup. The Mets lineup gets hurt because Cespedes, they got to figure out their DH situation now. Cespedes opted out. Very classy of him to not show up to the game yesterday, and hours and hours later let his agent let them know that he opted out, because that's a professional way to handle things. Having everybody think you got killed or something because no one can get in contact with you. Classy move there by Cespedes. So I like the under here. I think this total is way too high. That's where I'm getting at with all that long-winded talk. 9.5 right now at -105. I don't understand the total. Probably because the Mets lineup still rates to be pretty good. So maybe people think the Mets are going to do something. Maybe people think the Mets bullpen is going to blow up, or they're predicting the Mets bullpen to blow up, so they're putting it at 9.5. But I mean, I just don't see how this game can be lined at a 9.5 total. This is an 8.5 game to me, and it's at 9.5. So I took the under, and it's not even high juice. It's -105 right now. So I took this under on the overnights. Mets Nationals under 9.5 at -105. I also don't mind the Mets money line in this game, but I don't know. My spreadsheet has value on the Mets money line, but I'm going to stay off of that. I really, really just kind of want to stay with the under here at under 9.5 -105. So those are the 4 plays that I have on the overnights. Just kind of recap them. Rangers Athletics under 8.5 at -120. Rockies money line at -175. I know that's high juice. If you can get a run line, go for it. But I think this line should be over -200 against the Giants tomorrow. White Sox money line against the Brewers at even money. I think this is going to get steamed. The only thing to like about the Brewers is Woodruff. Woodruff is on the mound, but he's probably only being there for 5.5 innings. So, and under 9.5 Mets Nationals. So if you guys have any questions for some of the other games, I do find some of the lines interesting and tempting. I know the Dodgers-Padres, the Red Rocket is scheduled to start for the Dodgers tomorrow. That line seems kind of cheap to me, -122. I figured it'd be closer to -140. It looks like the books are giving Lamet. Was that how you pronounce his name? Lamet? I don't know. The guy for the Padres, Lamet, is starting for the Padres tomorrow against Dustin May for the Dodgers. Maybe the books are giving Lamet a little bit more credit than he should get, or maybe they just rate the Padres bullpen that much better than the Dodgers, which, I mean, it is a little bit better than Dodgers, but I think the Dodgers lineup is that much better than the Padres lineup that minus 122 does seem a little light to me. I thought that would be closer to minus 140. So that's a line I'm kind of going to look at. I don't know if you guys want to. I know a lot of people probably just going to see Dodgers minus 122 and hammer it. I kind of want to do a little more research on that one, but that might wind up being a play for me. Some of the other games, let me look at some of these other lines we're looking at for tomorrow. Twins versus the Pirates. Twins are minus 200 tomorrow. We got Berrios versus Musgrove. That line's justified. I think that line should be closer to like minus 230. For those of you who don't want to lay that number with the Rockies, the Twins could be a pretty good parlay, if you guys want to do that. I'm not huge on doing those 2-team parlays, but if you guys want to get that juice down on the Rockies there, you can Twins Rockies parlay would probably be one of those fun little plays to do, because I think there's minus 200, minus 205 right now on the Twins. They should be like minus 230. So that line is a little light on them. A couple other games. This is a fun game too. Going to the Cleveland Indians versus Cincinnati Reds, Bieber and Molly. I love Shane Bieber. I love him a lot. I think he's ridiculously good. He's looked really good this year. He looked really good last year. And there's not a ton to be excited about with Molly. I mean, he's not bad, but he's not that good either. But I do think the line's heavy on the Indians here. The Indians minus 170 to minus 179, depending on the books right now. I mean, I think the Indians definitely should be a favorite here, but minus 170 seems heavy. If they get steamed up on the overnights, because big favorites in baseball do tend to get steamed on the overnights. If the Indians get a lot of steam on overnight, we could wind up having a play on the Reds tomorrow. That's a line I'm going to be looking at. Right now, you can get the Reds between minus 150 and minus 163. That's why you got a line shop here. I'm looking at some of these lines. And if the Reds get up to like plus 180, I would have to fire on them. Let's see. Ulysses Hayes, like San Francisco money line tonight. I'm on the opposite end of that one. I'm on the Rockies. Unfortunately, though, I'm on the Rockies today because I thought Marquez was starting today last night, and I bet it early. But Marquez is starting tomorrow. So that's why I'm on the Rockies. So, Ron Crawford, Cleveland can't hit in the chat. You are correct. Cleveland cannot hit. But Molly's average. So, that's why I'm not actually looking to lay that number with Cleveland. That's why I'm kind of looking at the red side there. Right now, Reds at the plus 165 range. If we get another 15 cents on the Reds, that's definitely something I'm going to have tomorrow. When you bet underdogs like that, normally you want to wait a little bit later because the favorites always get steamed. That's kind of one thing to think about when you're betting early with baseball is if you want to bet an underdog, sometimes it's better to look at that opener and then wait because favorites get steamed a lot, mainly because they get thrown into parlays and stuff like that. So you'll get a better price on the underdog. Another one I'm looking at, Blue Jays, Braves. Don't have a play on this game yet, but Max Fried versus Shoemaker. I like this Blue Jays lineup a lot. These young kids can hit. I like the Braves lineup a lot too. I'm kind of looking, though, I think this line might be a little heavy on the Braves here. About minus 160 is what they're looking at market-wide. Again, if the Braves get a lot of steam, which they probably will because they're a hot team. I mean, they've won 5 in a row, so people like to chase those hot teams, which I don't blame them. But if you can get an extra 15 to 20 cents on the Blue Jays here, that might be another underdog look for me. Another game I'm looking at tomorrow is Houston versus Arizona. Bumgarner on the mound. I like Bumgarner. I think he's still a good pitcher. Houston, I have 2 different starters for Houston. Javier Christian or Valdez. I mean, I got both those listed on 2 different sites. So that's a game I'm going to stay off of until tomorrow. But I do kind of lean towards probably if I'm getting plus money on Arizona on the first 5, that's a first 5 look for me would be Arizona first 5 tomorrow. If we're getting plus money with Bumgarner out there, whether it's Valdez, he sucks. There's no real polite way to put it. Valdez is not good. And whether it's Christian Javier, he's got 1 start under his belt, although he looked really good in his first start, and it was against the Dodgers, who's the best lineup in the league. So, I think Javier Christian could be pretty good. Christian Javier, however his name is. I think he could be pretty good. So I'm looking at that game, though, because Bumgarner is a beast, and he is very consistent. So if we can get a first 5 number on him at plus money tomorrow, that's the game I got circled. I also have a first 5 under circled for that game. Diamondbacks, Astros. If we can get the first 5 around 4.5, it might be 5. I mean, we might see some 5s because it's hard to have really low totals in Astros games because their lineup is pretty good. If we can get a first 5 total at 5, I'm definitely taking the under. If we can get first 5 total at 4.5, depending on the juice, I want to look at the under there too. So those are some leans I got for tomorrow. Again, my official plays already before we wrap up here is going to be the Athletics Rangers under 8.5 minus 120. Already got that in. Mets Nationals under 9.5 at minus 105. Rockies minus 175. White Sox at even money. Some of the looks I have for tomorrow: first 5 on the Rangers. If we can get plus 115-ish on that Lance Lynn start. Reds Indians game, I'm looking for a better price on the Reds. I think if we can get them plus 180, I'm going to have to hit that. Dodgers Padres, I'm tempted to take the Dodgers at this price. I do like it. Minus 122 right now, minus 125. I think that might have to be a play I'm going to have to make on the Dodgers. May's got great stuff. He's starting for them tomorrow, and they got a good lineup, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. And I'm looking for first 5s on tomorrow's Astros D-backs game. If we can get first 5 under 5 or 4.5 with low juice, I want that with Bumgarner on the mound. Or if we can get Bumgarner at like plus 120, that's another thing I'm going to be looking at. So, Ulysses Hayes says Toronto money line. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that tomorrow. If we can get Toronto to settle in the plus 170 range. Right now they're plus 150. If we can get them to settle in the plus 170 range, I'll be looking at that. If you guys want to look at real quick some of the games that we have coming up tonight that have not started. Right now it is 7:25 Central Time, so we still have some West Coast games that haven't started yet. I am looking at the Dodgers. What is going on here? All right. Dodgers Padres with Walker Buehler and Paddock. I kind of lean towards the Dodgers here, but Mookie Betts is out of the lineup. That actually kind of kept me off of it, but I do like the Dodgers tonight a bit. I have a lean towards them, but I haven't bet them, so I can't recommend anybody betting that if I haven't bet it. And I'm looking at the Mariners. I haven't pulled the trigger, but I want to. The Mariners tonight, getting at about plus 170. That might be just a little bit too much value. Although Montez should be able to handle that Mariners lineup. The Mariners lineup's not very good, but they've been scrappy. So I'm going to look at that. I'm definitely not going to lay that number with the Athletics tonight. So with me, that's going to be Mariners or pass. And coming up, Rockies Giants game is coming up about 15 minutes. That's a tough one. I don't like either starting pitcher. I think both of them can get rocked. I would say I would lean towards the Rockies because they're a better overall team. But, I mean, if you want to take a good plus number in a high variance situation by taking the Giants, I can't blame you. It's a total in that game is 13. So when you get plus money like that in huge high totals like that lend to themselves to high variance. So if you get plus money and high variance, I don't blame you. But I don't have plays on any of those. Are all just kind of leans if people want to look at that. So we've gone about 25, 30 minutes now. So if anybody has any more questions for me in the chat, if not, we'll kind of let this go. Ron Crawford, Oakland -1.5. Yeah, I don't blame you for that. Oakland should probably win tonight. Ulysses, San Francisco money line, Dodgers money line, Oakland money line. Yeah, I just said, if you're going to bet that dog or that Giants Rockies game tonight, you're getting plus money in a high variance situation. Can't argue with that. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll try and do this again. I'll work with Cynthia on our schedule, and you guys have a good night. Thank you.